Hello one and all, welcome back to the Gaming Pantry. This is the Retro Bear and this is some more pickups. Yes, the 8-bit bear returns once again. And first of all, 8-bit centric at the moment, but when you get in a groove, you get in a groove, don't you? So yeah, more of that to come, plenty of it. We've got a few pickups, we've got some donations, we've got stuff. As always, hope you're all well, welcome back again. Thanks to everybody who's been watching the minimal output lately. It's always all been appreciated. Let's just first of all address the game in the room. It's not unusual for an 8-bit video, but we're actually doing some 16-bit in the background. Yes, we've got the old Super Nintendo out again. And I'd love to show you the box, but I haven't got the box for it. So this is a loose cartridge, but this is a UN Squadron, which will be running in the background. From the short series of games of That'll Make You Cry Because They're So Hard to Play. Interestingly enough though, there is a link to this with the video, which will probably give you an idea of what I might be showing at some point. But yes, so I got this last year or the year before off eBay with a rather scratchy looking label, but for I think about £8 I paid, including postage. A cracking little shoot 'em up. The old days, I'm sure there'll be a few people out there who'll know this one very well, have played it many times and probably give it much more go over than I did. I thought it could do with a change of American football in the background. But I'm wearing a baseball t-shirt today, which is really interesting, isn't it? Right, so what have we got today? Well, I've been buying stuff. Yes, I've been buying stuff off the internet. That's unusual, isn't it? Actually, off the internet and in person. I'll do the in-person stuff afterwards because there's a bit more of that. I'll do the stuff I've bought off the internet. I do a bit of eBaying, not much. I try and keep off it. Because if I start going down that rabbit hole, I've noticed the last few nights or so I've spent more time sat at home scouring through eBay looking for stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking I really shouldn't be doing this, but then again I'm in a position to do so. So I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll have a look round. So I've not seen anything I've bid on yet or anything like that. So keep your eye on that. There might be some of that to come in the future. But I just want to say I've picked some stuff up from a website, a channel I've mentioned a couple of times. They've got a channel, but they've been selling retro games for God knows how many years, probably nearly 25, 30 years or so now. He's acknowledged me in a couple of videos. My very good friend Jason over at retrogames.co.uk, the biggest, I think probably the biggest website selling retro games at the moment. And modern games, well, there's not retro games, modern games as well. He's got his own channel on YouTube, which he does he's had a week, somewhere off to take a bit of time out. He's bounced back with a video, which is even longer than the usual stuff he does. It's just basically, he's a nutter, but I love him. And I thought, you know what, it's about time I bought some stuff off him. So I bought these from here. So we'll show you those in a second. If you haven't been across to see his channel, I'll put a link below, and obviously you can go and check out his shop from there. I've already mentioned that before. He's not endorsed me to say this, I'm just really saying it's my own bat, and you know, me and Mrs. Bear do look forward to his new videos every Friday when they come out. And he does get some tremendously exciting stuff. His last video, I think, had got was it an Xbox, a Dead or Alive Xbox blue one, like a complete limited edition or something like that, worth about £1, which is in his shop at the moment. He gets some amazing stuff, honestly, from all over the place. Now, of course, being who I am, this came out of his bargain bucket, or his bargain basement. Yes, I know. I'm still a tight arse after all these years. But I felt that rather than, for the sake of saving a bit of post, a few quid, as long as it wasn't like falling apart, I wasn't really bothered. So what you're going to see here is a mixture of condition-wise average, but in terms of where my collection sits, I know it's been tested and the stuff in there will work. So in a way, it balances out the two. And I'm quite happy to pay what I paid for these in the condition that they are. I know he's got better condition ones of the same already in stock, but I thought, well, I'd buy these and see how they come out, and I'm very happy with them. So I've got some compilations. I love my compilations, but I'm getting very focused on those. I'm trying not to, but I am. So this cost me about 20 quid, including the postage. which I think for £5 each, which is about what I look to pay on a compilation. So I'm not overly, you know, I didn't overpay for these. If I wanted better condition, yeah, probably would have cost me, you know, £3 or £4 more. I know there are some better condition ones on there that I can't get hold of elsewhere that I probably will go back and buy. So in a way, Jason, this is going to sort of say I'm going to be a repeat customer. So brilliant, thank you very much indeed. You know, I hope this goes some way to once again boosting people to your channel, because you are, you know, a really good guy. I do enjoy watching your stuff. So what we got here? So we've got first up. Now this one I'm aware of, but I've never actually seen it at all. And in fact, it's got a couple of games on here which I haven't got. This is for the Spectrum. And you'll see why this probably was in the bargain section. I don't know. There's two schools of thought on this. One is my school of thought, and the other one is Mrs. Bear's school of thought. I'll show you what I see when I show it to you. So the first one I'm going to show you is a compilation called Battle Stations. This is, as I say, Spectrum. So we got Operation Wolf, which I must have about 10 copies now across so many different systems. But you can't get enough of it. It's just a good game. A game called Typhoon, which I must admit I know absolutely nothing about. I was trying to see it's a Konami game, so I'm sure some people know a bit more about Konami will tell me that. And right on the end here is an SNK game called Guerrilla War. Now I believe that was the natural successor to Ikari Warriors, but it didn't get, I think it got a very, very limited release towards the end of 8-bit life or 16-bit life, because you want to try and buy an individual copy of that on its own, it ain't cheap. Oh no, it ain't cheap. I'm not sure it's a hit squad, but even just the dual case version goes for an awful lot of money. Now, when I say there's two schools of thought on this, I'm not sure whether or not this is, Mrs. Bear doesn't seem to think so, but I think the back of this box is actually wrong because I think there should be, you know, screenshots on the back of that. But like I said, I'm not really fussed about that, because if I want to see what the game looks like, excuse the focus, I'll play it, won't I? Or will I? I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, in terms of the box, again, it was sold as it was. You know, most of these, I think, are sort of like between, you know, 5 and 7 out of 10 condition-wise. But I ain't bothered about that. Also, the instructions aren't there, which is a bit of a shame. But again, that's why it was so cheap. And all the tapes are there, and they're all in cracking condition. Yeah, so Spectrum 48 and 128K. Versions in this particular compilation, but yeah, you don't see that one all that often. I've seen it a bit more now. I've started poking around eBay, but actually a physical copy of it. Strange, only 3 games as well. Usually compilations had, you know, 4 or, you know, minimum probably 4. Although I'm about to blow that out of the water in a minute with another one. But yeah, so happy to have that one. Again, 2 games I've not played, so I'm thrilled to get that. And I'll now be looking for other versions of Battle Stations on the other systems, as I would do. Now this next one I'm going to show you, you'd only have got this through the retailer when you bought the computer. So this is there's a couple of these knocking around. High street stores at the time, Curry's and Dixon's. And this is the Dixon's collection. So I'm not sure what this would have got sold with. Again, it's a Spectrum one. And this is the Dixon's Premiere Collection. There's a lot of games on this, 10 games on this. So this was an absolute steal for what I picked it for. As you can see, the box is a little bit off, you know, centre. But again, I'd class that as perfectly acceptable for me. I mean, I'm not one of these people who want to go for pristine condition. Box on the back is a bit worn, but I'm pretty convinced that's the right box this time. I'll have to say. No manual, no instructions. It'd be world's thickest manual, but you can see 2 tapes in there. Just to let you know what games are actually on that one. So we got Freddy Hardest, Game Over, which is a shoot 'em up with a woman with a rather large chest on the front of it. They've actually put a convenient screenshot just over where the offending bit was, because at the time it was quite a controversial game. We've got Legend of Cage, which I know nothing about. Movie, which I know absolutely nothing about. Athena, no, I don't know that one either. We got Arkanoid, which I do know. I've got quite a few copies of Arkanoid. We've got Tank. We've got Batman, the isometric game. We've got the classic Head Over Heels. And for all you shooter fans out there, one of the all-time classics, one of the oldest ones of the lot, is Slap Fight. So yeah, so that on the Spectrum as well. But I mean, 10 games. I mean, you know, whatever price you pay for that was You would have got it free originally, but again, I'm not sure how many of these are knocking around. There probably would be a few, because they sold quite a few Spectrums, didn't they? They sold 1 or 2 million. But it depends where you bought it from. And I know there's similar packs like this. There's the Dixon, I think there's a Dixon or Curry variant. There's one called 6-shooter, which I've got on the Commodore 64 because I had a look at that last night. There's another one which I think got 20 games on it. There is one of those on eBay at the moment, but I'm not paying the asking price for it. I'm going to wait for it to drop down a little bit. But yeah, so that's another good one there. So another specky compilation to go with my growing Spectrum compilation collection. They're all growing at the moment. This one's a Commodore 64 one. Hurrah! Hey, people cry. There's not enough Commodore 64 on this channel at the moment. That's a problem though. Everything seems to be... I don't know if people are buying Commodore 64, but there seems to be a lot more Spectrum about and a fair bit of Amstrad, but you don't, Commodore 64 stuff. Mind you, I've got that much Commodore 64 stuff anyway. I'm probably thinking most of the stuff I'm looking at I've already got. And it's absolutely right. A lot of the stuff I'm looking at I have got. And quite a lot of it I'm not sure if I have or not. It's time to update that list, isn't it? It is indeed. I've dropped that one, but I'll pick up in a minute anyway. So what we got now here is a Commodore 64 compilation, and this is based around the theme of military. Box is a bit flat, but I ain't bothered about that again. So this is live ammo. So we've got 5 action computer hits. So we've got The Great Escape, we've got Top Gun, Green Beret, or Russian Attack if you're watching this from overseas. Nobody is. They don't tend to bother. Rambo, First Blood Part 2, and Army Moves on the end there as well, which I've never played. But he did reduce David Retro Games Play badly to tears on one of his gameplays. I'm pretty sure Army Moves might be the only one I haven't got on the 64. Maybe Great Escape as well, I'm not quite sure. But this one does actually have the back to it, so you can actually see there's some screenshots there. There we go. Lovely 8-bit stuff there. I think probably, Green Beret is a real tough nut to crack. I know Army Moves is probably exactly the same as well. And Top Gun is not the best, but the two standards are probably going to be, from memory, Great Escape and Rambo. There's a little bit of damage to the back of the box. Again, no one's going to see that because it's going to be there. Now this one does have the manual. I'll show you the tapes first of all. There we go, live ammo, one upside down, the other way around, whatever. I'm not really... I can turn it around. There we go, the right way up. There we go, live ammo and live ammo. And we have got the manual with this one. There we go, manual's here. So we've got The Great Escape. Yeah, this constitutes... This constitutes a manual. It is a bit ripped. There we go, be very, very careful with that. But there we go, and someone's coloured the instructions as well. It's very good of them. That's some original artwork from somebody. But I think as I saw Sega Zombie mention in one of his videos, it shows people have used it. I'm saying they've looked after it, but it shows they've used it. So it's there. So yeah, that's fine. So again, what I pay for it, quite happy for the condition of it. That's really, really good. Again, I haven't seen that one so much physically. On eBay I've seen quite a few knocking around, and I think there's another. I might try and go again for all 3 of those. I did see a Spectrum one a couple of weeks back, but it was a bit... There was mould on the inside of the box, which probably implies that the tapes might be a bit dodgy. You can always dry the tapes out. We get to the season where, well, technically you can put your heating on if you can afford it. And dry the tapes out that way. So I don't know, I'm tempted, maybe not. And then the last one, we got this game in the background here. So this is quite convenient, isn't it? We got actually here, and this is an interesting one. Let's show you. This is called No Limits, and this is a US Gold Capcom compilation. So we've got Unsquadron, and we've also got Strider 2 as well. And you'll notice that this is a dual compilation. There's a couple of these knocking around that US Gold did. I think there's one with the Turbo Outrun. I want to say Ghouls and Ghosts, but I don't think it is. It is called Demons and Drivers. It might be Ghouls and Ghosts on it. It's called Demons and Drivers, and there's another one as well, I think. It's got 2 games on it. So it's very fancy compilation with 2 games. It's really weird. Again, I'm not sure that's the original box, probably not. But Mrs. Bear quite rightly points out, well, there's damage to the top of the box there. See, obviously there's some damage on the core, it's been quite badly bashed. And then on the inside, the box is exactly the same. But as I pointed out, well, that might just be any old box which has been stuck on there for ages. So again, I'm convinced that that isn't the original box, but I ain't really bothered because it's got a box with it. And it's also got a bag for it as well. It's got a little bag for the tapes which weren't actually in the bag, but we can put those in afterwards. And there's a little manual. It is a little one, that, isn't it? Most people used to 8-bit manuals being giant and massive, but no, this is a tiny, tiny little one. It's a baby manual. We've got Strider on one side, and it's got UN Squadron on the other. Now, also what's interesting about this is that I'll just show you the 2 tapes on the inside. There's 2 tapes. Why are there 2 tapes? Well, I didn't know this at the time, but well, they're 2 tapes for 2 games. Well, you'd have thought so, but these tapes are actually got 1 game on one side and 1 game on the other. Well, this one is actually for the Amstrad. You can't see that. Hold it that way and people can see it. Yeah, that actually says Amstrad on it. There we go. So this is actually a dual format release. Did happen. I've got a copy of Merck's, which I didn't realise when it came out. He got the Spectrum on one side and the Amstrad on the other. Now, of course, back in those days, most people have had 1 computer, wouldn't they? You wouldn't necessarily have a Spectrum and an Amstrad. So it does actually say Spectrum and Amstrad on the side. So actually I've got both here, which is great because obviously I've got both systems. So I can play both games. How about that? So actually I've got, you know, 2 for the price of 1, technically speaking. So yeah, so like I said, that little lot was 20 quid, or just over 20 quid, about £21, with the postage included in it as well. And I think for about a £5 each, that's about what I'm very happy paying for something, you know, which is going to give me, you know, a lot of pleasure. Just to sit here and look at, actually. I could sit here and look at that. It'd be a really boring video if I did, but there we go. So, Jason, once again, retrogames.co.uk. Go and have a look at his channel, link below for his last video. And go and check out their online shop, massive. And go and see some of the stuff he shows in the videos. Honestly, there's stuff on there he shows that I didn't even know existed, which is great. And you know, he's an absolute nutter, but I love his stuff. I really do. There we go. Yeah, so that was my online purchasing, and I probably will be going back. So I had a look through the other night. I thought, some stuff there I missed, but he usually puts new stuff on every Friday, so it'll be interesting to see what gets uploaded tomorrow, or today, if you're watching it when it goes out. Because I'm recording this the night before. I had to order a new vape as well, other unrelated matters, because for some reason this one now won't work without being boosted. So, yeah, I mean, it's great if you use the boost, but it doesn't have to use your fluid up. So I've had to order another one replacement. Hey, 20 quid, but they're great. Honestly, that's lasted me about, I expect it lasts longer than 12 months as it has done, but honestly, it's brilliant. Wouldn't be without it now. It's hard to imagine me ever going back to smoking, which is really weird. I think I finally, after all these years, kicked the need to even smoke cigars anymore. Anyway. Second part of this video, we went to Hidden Chest Gaming last weekend. We had to pop down because Mrs. Bear had to drop something off to Dana. And I always have a poke round. I always apologise on the way out, so I didn't buy anything, you know, because we are pretty much going down there every week or every other week at the very least. And you know, it's always nice to pop in and have a chat with him. I'm sure he gets fed up with me turning up and not buying anything. So I bought a game off him this time. All for 2 quid. Yeah, I know. I did say sorry, mate, and he said no, it's all. He said it all counts. So I picked this up. It's a Commodore 64 game. I can't believe I haven't picked this up before. I mean, I must have seen this about 4 or 5 times since I've been down there. And this is the sports pack, which has got basketball, football, or American football, and baseball on it. Now, what's interesting about this is the football game is actually done from a 3D perspective. Because I was watching a video on it, and when it came out, Zap64 reviewed it quite highly. So I'm going to be interested to see how that plays. I've not got much hope for the other games, but I will be interested to try that. Well, like I said, that was a couple of quid. So I'm happy to invest in that and see how it goes. Again, it's a nice copy. It's got some bit of fade on it, but I think, again, that's because it's been in use. But yeah, so I will look forward to seeing how that goes. But that football game looks really interesting. My mate the Cockmeister's watching. There we go. That's a really old one, that is. But But yeah, so that was nice to find that. And then he said to me, "Oh, I've got some stuff downstairs for you." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I think it must obviously be better than taking it to the tip, cheaper than taking it to the tip or something like that. I'm joking. I always am very grateful for anything anybody gives me, even if it does save you a chip going to the tip. But he's just given me a load of tapes in this rather squashed container. If you want the container back, you can have it. I'm not on to it. You won't be watching anyway. But there's a right old mixture in here, and I went through it the other day. I thought, oh, actually, this. I thought, do I show this off or not? Because there's some stuff in there which I'm dubious as to whether actually it'll go or not. But there are actually some really impressive stuff in here. So I'll just go through these as quickly as I can and try not to hold you up any further, because I'm sure you're all very busy people and you've got better things to do than watch me. So what we got here is a copy of the inlay and the tape of The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, which is brilliant because I've read that book so many times. My mum had a copy when I was a kid. I've read it so many times. The tape's in, there's no mould on it. The tape's in good condition, so if it's been stored well, it should be okay. But yeah, so all I need to do is find a box for that. I'm sure I can get a box. My new friend Judge Drock has kindly pointed me in the direction of somewhere to get some tape cases from. I need quite a lot. Also in there as well, I'll show you this one because this was also rather exciting. We've actually got the instructions and the inlay card and the tape for the 64 version of Paperboy, which is nice as well, so I need a box for that. Now, I haven't actually, I think I maybe got the Encore version of this one, so actually to have better put the big box version together is quite good. Yeah, 1986. Not a great conversion on the Commodore 64. I must admit, Paperboy was not one of my favourite games. Didn't like it very much. And then we've got here the Amstrad Action Pack, inlay card and tape but no box. This is one of the tapes that you've got free on the magazine. It does have a complete game on there called Forbidden Planet, which is always good to find a complete game on there. You've also got stuff that I can't read because my eyesight is shocking. And then you've got a playable demo of the Addams Family as well, and some Sprite designer package on there as well. So it was interesting to find these little tapes. They're dirt cheap. You can get them anywhere. I mean, honestly, go on eBay. People selling tons of them. But sometimes you can find full games on there. Although I am reliably informed. Well, I say reliably informed. The source, it depends how many stellars he's had. The quality of some of those tapes they use wasn't great, but I've got loads of tapes because you just get a free game thrown in there, some of them, and some of them were just games, just a complete playable game on it. Sometimes it was a full price release from 2-3 years previously, so they're always worth finding, and you can pick them up for absolutely nothing. What else we got? We got a inlay card for another Amstrad pack, which there isn't a tape in here for, but it does have the turtle. That is quite interesting. It ties in my last video. It has had a playable demo of the Turtles coin up on it, which is quite good. A complete game called Terror of the Deep, which I don't know anything about. Complete game Sweevo's World, which was given away on pretty much anything, and there was a drum kit program on there as well. So I haven't got a tape for that one, sadly. There's a Commodore 64 inlay card for Silent Service, which looks to be some sort of a submarine game. So if you are missing the inlay card for Silent Service on the Commodore 64 and you don't mind doing a bit of ironing, there's a copy here for you. There's a copy of Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase on the PlayStation 1, which is really random to be thrown in there. I have already got that one, so again, if anybody's missing I've got a box and they're missing the game, the disc actually is in pretty good nick. No scratches on it. So if anybody wants a copy of that, make your own version of it. There you go. I already have that one. Bit of a tape. Couple of empty tape boxes, which is again useful to have. Let's do some of the. Let's do the box stuff, because this is where it all gets rather interesting. I've got absolutely no idea what that is. That just says empty on it. It might be empty. There was a game on there originally from Human Engineered Software. And it was called The Huh. Looks like it was Australian, like American company, based here in California. Confused me, it said Brisbane, and I thought that was Australia. So I've got no idea what's on that. That could be quite interesting. Try and load these tapes and find out what it is. It's not I'm taking a piss here. I'm not. I'm very grateful for all this stuff. I really am. Paxman Promotions presents Turbo 64, Derby Day, and Pilot 64. And on the other side, we've got Handicap Golf, World Cup, and Test Match Cricket. So that sounds like an interesting little compilation. And again, you can see there. I mentioned it in the last video. Someone's actually written the tape counter numbers down, so you can just fast forward the tape to that point and start loading it. I don't hold out much hope for Derby Day because it's only 40 on the counter, which is a really, really short game. Test Match Cricket is only about 30. World Cup is actually not much longer. But anyway, I'll again be interested to find out what's on those ones. But not heard of anything off that. I only heard Paxman Promotions. This one is from Arctic Software. Again, not great condition, this tape. This was one of those there. It's World Cup 2. It's anything like World Cup 1. Oh, terrible game. Utterly terrible football game. We've got a Codemasters game here. This one is, again, more to do with the actual state of the case than the actual tape itself. Pro Snooker. And that's for the Commodore 64 as well. That's good. Firebird game here. Arcade Classics. And this one's also on the Commodore 64. There's a bit of a mixture in here. So again, I don't think I've got that one, so I shall have a look. Now, my good friend Sean collects this label. This might be of interest to him. Americana label game, and this is something called Slam Ball. I've never heard of it. But I know Sean has an Americana subset going at the moment, so that might be of interest to him. I'll show you that one at the end because that's quite funny. We've all now this was one that you find that sort of gets you reasonably excited in a sort of a nice way. But this is a copy of Hero. Do you remember Hero? I remember playing that on the Atari 2600. Where you have to sort of jetpack your way down caves and rescue the prisoner at the bottom. Brilliant game, absolutely superb game. I'm stunned. I haven't got a copy of that, and I'm thrilled to have that one. That is great. I mean, that makes all, whatever comes before this or after this, that makes that all worthwhile. From Alligator Software, I've got Chartbuster 64, which has got 5 games on it, and I can't even read those. I'm going to need a microscope at this rate. I can't even read what it is. I can't even read. There's 5 games on it anyway. I can't even read that. You can't read it because the thing don't focus properly. Another Codemasters game, Grand Prix Simulator on the 64. So there's some interesting stuff in it. It's great. I mean, I love this because you're just going through stuff and finding bits and pieces. I've got a empty clam case. That's rather useful to have. I wonder if Silent Service will fit in that. No, it's too big. Oh, I don't know. No, it's way too big. But yes, I've got one of those. So I've got a couple of clam case games. It hasn't got anything in there. I did check. But that's always nice to have a case like that. Has it got the plastic on the front? No, plastic is sadly missing. But anyway, that's always useful to just shove a tape in. You want to keep. Another cover. This is for an Amsoft game, Alien Breaking. I can't imagine there'll be too many people wanting that, because obviously the Amsoft label, they were quite readily available. But again, if anyone wants one of those, I've got a spare one of them. Bubble Bus game. This is called Hustler. Obviously the tape's a bit dirty, so again, we're not quite sure. We're on to the loose stuff now. There's quite a few of these. I need to make a second pile because otherwise they're all going to fall on the floor and there'll be a giant crash and lots of crying. Alternative software for the Amstrad Grand Prix. I'm sure Sean will know about it. Well, Sean might know more about alternative software. He's quite up on that sort of thing. We've got an Amsoft game. Now, this is a good one. Not for resale. Given free. I'm sure Rach is watching this one. She'll know all about it. It's Roland on the Ropes. 8-bit Rach, if you don't know 8-bit Rach. Premier. One of the premier Amstrad people on YouTube, in my opinion. Need to come back on the podcast, Rach. We'll have to get back on and talk Amstrad. We've got the Trivial Pursuit game for the Commodore 64. I only a version of bloody Trivial Pursuit I have absolutely no one. Loads. There's a Master System version of it. Another Firebird game. This is called Brainstorm on the Spectrum. I hope you can see the Amstrad on the back. No, it's Spectrum. But it does have a 48 and a 128K version. There's a blank tape. Oh, I presume it's a blank tape. It's got nothing on it. That'll be interesting. This one here again. This is called Paintbrush. This is also from those, but it's a bit of a nasty one. This one. So I'm not sure if that's going to work or not. But that was from that HES software people. There's a couple of those games in here. Number Puzzler, which I think was one of the free games they gave away. I don't think I've got any of those actually. The ones with the white labels, the white case on the white inlays on them. We've got on the Amstrad Ninja Scooter Simulator from Firebird. Not only is it a simulator, but it's a Ninja Scooter Simulator. Ninjas ride scooters? Apparently so. Another tape which looks like it's been devoid of everything, so that may be an interesting experience. I've got no idea what they're for because it's a mixture of stuff in here. This one, I don't even. This one has got it says C60. It says 64 tape computing, but I've got absolutely no idea what's on that one either. So that could be anything. They do need it. Yeah, I appreciate some of these are a bit grubby. And again, I'm not knocking the fact they were given to me. It's just how they've come out of wherever Danes just pick them up from. Oh, there we go. I found that Amstrad Action. That's it. There were Turtles coin up demo on it. So I'll definitely be keeping that one, certainly. There we go. Anyway, so I found that. Oh, that's good. Must put that together. And you got a couple more of these to show you. The Krypton Factor on the Commodore 64. Fantastic. Krypton Factor, old television program from the 1980s and 90s, where people competed in feats of physical, mental strength type things, general knowledge. And another great, well, I say great quiz program. I remember it from years and years ago. Every Second Counts used to be hosted by Paul Daniels. And I've just realised that this is also on the back, got Bullseye. The old darts quiz. Oh, that's great. I haven't got that. Brilliant. So I've got Every Second Counts and Bullseye. Superb. That Commodore 64, yeah. Commodore 64 pack. Was that? I can't remember what that came out of then. Now, there's a couple of TV game show games in compilations. I've got one. Henry's House from English Software on the Commodore 64. Henry's House, Soldier of Fortune, Witch Switch, and the rather strangely titled Nooker Hole. Alright. Well, that's going to entail. Have you had your Nooker Hole cleaned lately? I'll have to find out. The Great Adventure Pack from Mogul Software. Got no idea what that is. It's Commodore 64. That at least tells me it might help. Although, having said that, there's a bit of sellotape over the top there, which I'm probably guessing somebody's copied a game onto it. That's the way you used to do it back then. Put a bit of sellotape over the top. It's like your old video cassettes, you know, if you got a blank tape, you pull the tab off. You couldn't record over it. So by doing that, you could record over a piece of original software. They're rather imaginatively titled and rather worryingly, possibly quality-wise, 30 games on the Commodore 64. 30 games of what? We don't know. Could be anything. 3 to show you. This is Frantic Freddy from Audiogenic. Now, the only problem with this one is it doesn't actually tell me what system it's on. So I could quite easily find myself loading that through 3 different systems. Of course, it may have just come out on one system entirely and that was it. I don't know. And then the last one I'm going to show you actually is not a bad one to finish on. And again, this is on the Amstrad. So I don't think I've got this on the Amstrad. I know I've got it on the Spectrum. It's Bomb Jack 2. So there we go. So as I said, there was a real mixture of good stuff in there. So Dana, thank you very much indeed for those. I still have great fun playing my way through it and see what's what on some of those more obscure tapes. But yeah, what we got there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 19 blank tapes. Probably about 10, there's about 30 tapes there altogether. And I still have great fun and great enjoyment going through those. And I'm not being ungrateful for what's been given to me there. You know, I'd say that some of the condition of them is what it is. But I cherish stuff like that. I really do. And finally, just to finish on, if anybody really is interested, 'cause I have no idea what this was doing in there, but if any Robert Plant fans out there, because I've actually got a cassette copy of Robert Plant, The Principle of Moments. Robert Plant was Led Zeppelin lead singer, wasn't he? That's all I can tell you. Do you want to hear the tracks? We haven't done that for a while, have we? At side one, we got Other Arms, In the Mood, Messing with the Mekon, and Reckless Love. And then on the other side, we've got Through with the Two-Step, Horizontal Departure, Stranger Here, and Big Log. For some sort of medical condition. Stranger Here, then Over There, faded out. Production and quality control, Robert Plant, Benji LeFleur, and Pat Moran. So if anybody's interested in that, there is a copy here for somebody who may want to listen to it. The tape looks in good condition. I'm not sure what year this is. What year is this, Robert Plant? 1983. Okay. Anyway, new one on me. There we go. We're all out of tapes. We're all done. There we go. That's another 8-bit video for you. I know there's a lot of 8-bit stuff at the moment, but I'm honestly, that's where I'm looking at. That's where my nostalgia lies. Doesn't mean that any of the rest of this stuff is going to get neglected. That's the thing. I'm still trying to. I'm not sitting in. I picked some Master System stuff up a few weeks back, but I've not seen any recently that's taken my fancy. And again, because a lot of people are collecting Master System, the price tends to be a bit more. It'd be nice to go on an old-fashioned game hunt, just walking around. Because I don't do charity shops and CEX anymore. It's been a long time since, apart from the last lot of Wii stuff I got, when I did deliberately go to CEX. But I haven't bought any for quite some time, not done a real proper game hunt. I might try and do that again. I know it's, my good friend Retro Kit ran a couple of things past me the other day, which I'm very interested in doing. John, if you're watching, yes, absolutely, definitely, we need to have a chat about that, because that would be quite a lot of fun. But there we go, so that's it. All I will say is thanks very much indeed for watching. To remind you, we have got a podcast this Sunday. Oh yes, the TMB are back on the 25th of September. This coming Sunday, and we're discussing independent game shops, quite convenient for what you've seen here. You may remember we did a show a couple of, maybe about 6 weeks ago, with Dainster of Hidden Chest Gaming, and we were talking about price of the games. And we had some very, very good feedback from some people. Some people actually got in touch to say how much they enjoyed it, how much. A lot of people have been talking about the price of the games, and there have been a lot of videos about it, but ours was quite a well done discussion and conversation about it, which was obviously very flattering. And if you did get in touch to say that, thank you very much indeed. It does make doing those all worthwhile. So what we're going to talk about is independent game shops, but more from the point of view from people who use them, as opposed to having somebody on there. So it's not we one of these sessions where we can sort of sit there, aren't independent game shops expensive and all this business. No, we want to talk about our experiences from it, and the panel we got lined up with the guests and the TMB lads who are coming along. We've all got a lot of experience of using independent game shops, as you can tell from here, and a lot of stuff. We are quite fortunate around here to have so many. So if you if you want to hear about that, because a lot of people don't have the ability to use them, they're all, there's none local to them. And we talk about how it works for us, how the people who work there get to know you and things like that. And it's going to be I think a really, really good discussion. I said the panel we got all regularly use independent game shops as well. So do join us for that 8 o'clock this Sunday, 25th of September. It'd be great to have you along. And yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, because this is going out on Friday. I better mention that. I'm like, we used to do Fall Guys on a Friday, and we stopped doing it for some reason. Oh, sorry, somebody was on. Yeah, we're doing it again tonight. Yes, tonight, 8 o'clock. Fall Guys Friday on Big Game Al's channel. Remember Big Game Al? Yeah. Vaguely. Yeah, anyway, he's doing Fall Guys Friday stream on his channel this coming Friday, which will be tonight when this video goes out. So make sure you're there. I'll be along playing as always. Will I do one on Saturday, Super Saturday? Will that return? I'm not sure. I've just found out there's a baseball game on the telly. Free on BBC. I'm just beginning to wonder what happens, because obviously I'm now in the middle of my college football season. I'll have to see, but things go according to plan. We have a good night tomorrow night, or tonight, on Fall Guys Friday. Might well do it on Saturday, but if not, I'll try and make sure it returns. Anyway, that's enough talking now. I've finished. You want to go off and do something else. Thanks very much indeed for watching. I will be back again very, very soon. Maybe I'll even play some of these games. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Where's my mouse gone? So I'm going to turn the computer off. There we go. Right, thanks very much indeed for watching. I will see you again very soon. Until then, do take good care of yourself. Please do. And I'll speak to you soon. Take care.